That's the most nerve-wracking experience I've had as a Dallas Stars fan in many, many years. Um, when Dallas was in the playoffs 2 years ago, I didn't have any belief based on the goaltending, which was Kari Lehtinen and Antti Niemi. And I was like, okay, this they're not going to do it. Even when against St. Louis, it looked like they could. I was still like, no, no, no. This feels different. Now, the one thing I worry about with Dallas, one line team. One line team, I admit. But Blake Como had a great game. Foxa played really well. I think this was the best game I've seen from a lot of guys who weren't Sagan, Ben, and Radulov. First period, Nashville is in complete control. Austin Watson scores from Subban and Bonino. My heart sinks, and I'm like, well, all right then. I guess we're going back to Nashville because Dallas didn't look very motivated for a team that could put away their opponents tonight. And I thought about how it sort of felt like Toronto. How Toronto, the motivation just didn't seem to be there. Like with Winnipeg, the motivation to stay alive didn't seem to be there against St. Louis. Boy, howdy. The shots are 19-10 for Nashville after the first period. I'm gonna apologize straight up. My voice may be a little bit because that was something. I'm still kind of in the haze of did that just happen? That's where my brain's at right now. Now in the second period, Dallas does manage to tie it, and it's Como from Foxa. And as the game goes along, Dallas kind of takes over, but the scoreboard doesn't reflect that. Other than shots, the scoreboard doesn't reflect it. Como gets it from Foxa. Blake Como, like I said, best game I've seen of probably since he's become a Dallas Star. And then there was a high stick that Dallas fans wanted. And since there was a play tonight involving the Capitals and the Canes game that people may very well still be complaining about, it wasn't a penalty because a high stick on a follow through, it's not a penalty. So if you're taking a shot, you're playing the puck, and the stick on the follow through gets a guy in the face, whatever it does, it's not a penalty. So that's why there wasn't a penalty called in that situation. It was a power play for Nashville at the time, and that would have evened it up at 4-on-4. No harm, no foul. The Nashville Predators, depending on how their percentage is, Elliot Friedman was talking about it between the second and the third period. Statistically, the worst power play in the history of the National Hockey League. And that really totally completely will sink a team. It's amazing this team won their division. It is. But tonight we're in the midst of potential history here. The third period I ended up being kind of nervous because or it was between the third and overtime that they talked about Nashville's power play because Como gets a penalty with 1:53 left. And in a game where they were letting a lot of stuff go, because that's the way it is in the playoffs, I understand why the referee called the penalty. I get it. I thought incidental contact. Totally understand why the referee called it. Guy goes down, and you're going to call that every time. It looked like a slew foot initially, but if you look at it on the replay, it's incidental contact. Anyways, Como goes off, not happy. Jim Montgomery also not happy. But Dallas outshoots Nashville 13-8 in that period and survives the power play. So we're going into overtime 1-1, and I'm thinking, I've already watched Nashville win once in overtime in this series. I don't want to see Dallas go back for Game 7. I felt that if Nashville won this game tonight, a game where they had all the momentum at the start, but by the time we're up to overtime, Dallas has all the momentum and all the pressure being put on Pekka Rinne, who had an amazing game. This has been goalie redemption over the last 24 hours. First is Martin Jones for San Jose, then it's Peter Mrazek for Carolina, and tonight as well, it's Pekka Rinne for the Nashville Predators. Now, the overtime is not your traditional overtime. Your traditional overtime in the playoffs is your first 3 or 4 minutes are kind of crazy, and then teams kind of settle back. That doesn't happen here. Right up until over halfway through that overtime, there's chances at both ends. It's just crazy. And my heart's kind of struggling to take it at that point, because it's like you'll see the Stars come up with this play. And what was making me really nervous was it seemed like it was 3-on-2s over and over again. So it was like Dallas would pinch down, Klingberg would pinch down, Nashville would get the puck, and it would be a fast break for them. And I thought, geez, they can't keep playing like this. And yet somehow it is the second longest overtime in the playoffs. And they keep playing this way, and then something happened that I didn't expect. Now, I know they have the dry scrape. I know they have the dry scrape over 10 minutes into the overtime. But they had a TV timeout. They did not have a TV timeout in the one last night that went to double overtime. So whether it was just, okay, we're going to slip in a couple of commercials because of the dry scrape, I'm not sure. But they did refer to it as a TV timeout when they came back. So I made note of that, because a TV timeout's usually 2 minutes. The dry scrape's maybe a minute. And that extra minute to relax, it can make a big difference when it comes to who's on the ice. And I had to put on the board, Rinne was dynamite. Rinne been absolutely fantastic. A great game for Pekka Rinne. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Bishop, but we expected it from Bishop. Bishop nominated for the Vezina, great year. And Rinne, a lot of naysayers and doombringers over the last few days with Pekka Rinne. And then it happens. And I have to say, as a Dallas fan, I almost screamed out loud, shoot the puck. And because it felt like there were certain plays that I thought, and both teams were doing this, where they were trying to be maybe a little bit too pretty with the puck. Maybe trying for that perfect play, and maybe holding onto the puck a little bit too long, coming from that Brock Besser school of holding the puck when you should shoot it. Klingberg gets the goal. John Klingberg with the biggest goal in Dallas franchise history, I would say, over the last while. I believe they said this is the first time Dallas has won a series at home in 11 seasons. Radulov and Sagan with the assists. I cannot gush enough about how well Ben, Sagan, and Radulov played. And I don't need to see the numbers. They played a ton. These guys have to have lost at least, I would say, 3 pounds each in sweat during this game. These guys played a lot of hockey. Klingberg gets the game winner. Fantastic goal. And the nice thing is, it's a screen in front of the net by Sagan, and he does not touch the goaltender. Perfect screen. There's nothing for Peter Laviolette to challenge. What we witness here, like I said, is historic. We are now in a league where there's 4 divisions. 3 division winners are gone in the first round, and the Washington Capitals are going home for a Game 7, and if Carolina wins, all 4 division winners could be gone. This was a great game, and this, again, overtime is, that sweet victory in the agony of defeat. And I yelled so loud, and then I flung my phone. I had my phone in my hand. They scored, and the phone flew. And I didn't realize I'd flung the phone until I'm trying to put everything on the board, and I'm like, oh, my phone. Where'd my phone go? Now, for people who are saying, oh, I wish there was a live stream of that, when I yell, it's loud enough that I think the microphone would have hated it. And it just, yeah. It's an unexpected victory. This Dallas team has been able to do something that it kind of feels like it's over their heads. And I know there's going to be people who say, well, St. Louis will kill them in the second round. I don't care. It's not a big deal if St. Louis knocks out Dallas, because I don't dislike St. Louis on any level. I like that matchup a lot. And people are going to read into that and go, oh, Shannon dislikes Nashville. No. I like the unpredictability of the playoffs. I like the underdog. The fact that in this case, the underdog is a team that I cheer for is just icing on the cake. Whoever wins the series between St. Louis and Dallas potentially plays Colorado in the conference final. Like, we are into the realm of, I don't think we're done breaking brackets just yet. This win for Dallas, just huge. For guys like Sagan and for Jamie Benn. I mean, Tyler Sagan, his playoff acumen has been under attack in recent years, and the ability to get there. So the idea that maybe the heart's not there. And at points this year, I have criticized Sagan and Benn. I have nothing Nothing but praise for them tonight, and based on how they played throughout this series. Ben does not get on the board tonight. He was a beast out there. Absolutely fantastic. Bishop saves 47 out of 48. Rene saved 49 out of 51. And I don't know how he stops that goal in overtime, because I don't think he properly saw it. There were other plays in the overtime that there was a break by Como there that I thought he should have buried it. There were a couple of plays by Sagan where I thought he had a really good chance and turned. There was a play where Radulov came out from behind the net and I thought could have buried it. And the reason all these things get thrown into my brain is because over the years, all of the PTSD from watching hockey means that you remember all of the plays where your team doesn't score, because you have a feeling that later on you're going to have to recall that information for why they didn't win the game. Congratulations to the Dallas Stars for going to round 2. I am absolutely floored at the performance they put up and just the way they played. And the way they played this game, it's a good thing they're playing St. Louis, because they played this game like St. Louis. Other than the crappy start. The bad start to the game, if they do that against St. Louis, that series could be over quickly for St. Louis in their favor. But Dallas stuck with it. And even though it was a close game and there was a lot of tension in it, they never changed their focus. They never seemed to panic. And that's something I liked with St. Louis too, was that when it was a tied game during the regular season, they would keep playing their game. If they were behind, they'd keep playing their game, and eventually they would earn the victory. So I am anticipating a really solid second round. Really looking forward to this. And to Nashville, they played a very good series. And Rene was fantastic when he needed to be tonight. We can have the debate about whether or not, the other games are what ended up costing them. But, man, it's a good night for Dallas for the first time in a while. Last time they were in the second round was 2016. And like I said, that was when it was Lettinen and Niemi. This is a little bit different. Bishop and Hudobin are a little bit higher up in terms of goaltenders I have confidence in. So we'll see. We'll see if St. Louis's depth is too much for Dallas. I can get into that tomorrow when I do the series preview for Dallas and St. Louis. Oh, you guys know I'm going to be jumping on that. That's going to happen. And we'll get right into what may happen in that series. And we'll have 2 more series to preview after the Game 7s tomorrow. There's 3 Game 7s. This one didn't go that far. Nashville almost made it happen, but Ben Bishop stood tall when he had to. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to let me know in the comments section below how you feel and what's going on. And again, it's one of those rare... It feels like it's a really rare occasion where, for me, it's one of my 3 teams that ends up winning a big game like this. It just feels very rare. I don't know if it truly is. I haven't done the numbers since I was in Vegas around Christmas. I can definitely crunch those numbers again, though. But hey, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. And to the Dallas Stars subreddit. Am I a fan yet? No? Okay, I'm still not? All right. Okay. Okay. All right, done. Okay, thank you guys so much for all your support. And just kidding with the whole subreddit thing. Everybody watches, they watch, and if people want to brush me aside and say, oh, he's not a real fan because, he didn't believe. He didn't blindly believe. I've just learned over the years not to. This team, thank you so much for proving me wrong. I'll talk to you again soon.